Hey, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to see more content in the future. Also check the links in the description for my Twitter and Patreon. That's it, enjoy the video. So video games have been around for a long time, with the first practical video games coming around in the late 60s to early 70s, so it's safe to say that there's a lot in the back catalog. With so many games and game technology constantly evolving, some games we may have enjoyed years ago become increasingly more difficult to play. Obviously there's emulation as a way to play these games that game studios and publishers refuse to port for newer consoles for one reason or another, but emulation is illegal. So let's pretend that it doesn't exist, you fucking criminals. So, excluding stealing from small independent companies like Nintendo, it's hard to play some of these older games without dishing out your favorite kidney to cover the cost of an original copy of the game, the console it's for, and any additional accessories you might need for it. That's where bundles and retro collections come in, a library of your favorite older games ported to the newest hardware. There's a lot of these collections out there, and they've slowly become more popular as studios realize that the general public would rather play the old good games rather than sport acronym current year or shooty gun military term. Let's talk about some of the video game collections that are out there. Back in 2020, we got the release of Super Mario 3D All-Stars, a collection of the best 3D Super Mario games from older consoles including Super Mario 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy, but not 3D Land. This release, however, came with the caveat that it was only available for 1 year, and after that it would be pulled from the Nintendo eShop, and you'd only be able to buy it physically secondhand. Why Nintendo did it this way, I have no clue, but those games were brought to the Switch. Sega released a Master Drive and Genesis collection back in 2012 with some of their most popular games. You have what you'd expect: Sonic, Golden Axe, Toe Jam and Earl, Streets of Rage, Phantasy Star, and more. Some of the more popular Genesis titles didn't make the cut due to copyright issues like Mortal Kombat and Earthworm Jim, with the latter eventually being released on the Genesis Mini. This collection is really solid, even including a virtual hub of a kid's bedroom, CRT and all. I really like that touch. Rare Replay was released in 2015 for the Xbox One, bringing classics like Banjo-Kazooie, Conker's Bad Fur Day, Perfect Dark, and Battletoads to the newest generation. I didn't play this, but having the option to legally play these games is nice. Companies sometimes do decide to re-release these older games, but there's still a lot of popular older games that you can't play very easily, so I've decided to make a list of the few of the series that I'd like to see get the retro bundle treatment. So in my Summer Game Fest video, I talked about how Persona 3, 4, and 5 were getting ported to Xbox and PC, as well as being included on Game Pass. I think it's great. Persona 5 is a fantastic game that I'm glad to see Xbox and PC players finally being able to play, and the same goes for Persona 3 and 4. However, there's a lot of Persona games that aren't available on anything. Revelations Persona was released in 1996 and has had a few ports, the latest being the PlayStation Mini, but the last accessible re-release was on the PSP back in 2009. The same goes for both Persona 2s, PSP in 2011 and 2012, and one of them was never released outside of Japan. These games are difficult to play legally, not to mention the popular Persona spin-off games. Persona Q is only available for the 3DS, and while I know that it isn't hard to come across the 3DS and copy Persona Q, and that porting a 3DS game to PC and console would be tricky, it would be nice to have it at all. Persona 4 Arena is a great Persona fighting game that's stuck on the 360 and PS3. Some mainline games and spin-off games aren't accessible to the modern public, so it'd be great to see these alongside other games all in one collection. For what games would be in this theoretical Persona collection, I'd say Revelations Persona, Persona 2 Innocent Sin, Persona 2 Eternal Punishment, Persona 3 FES, Persona 3 Dancing in Moonlight, Persona 4 Golden, Persona 4 Arena, Persona 5 Royal, Persona 5 Strikers, Persona Q, and Persona Q2. 11 games including the main Persona games as well as some of the spin-offs. Including Persona 4 and Persona 5's dancing games would bloat this collection a bit, and since 4 and 5 already have original spin-offs and 3 only has Dancing in Moonlight as a spin-off, having Persona 3 Moonlight be 3's spin-off would make the most sense. This is quite a lot of content for one game, so I'd say Atlus could sell this collection for somewhere in the $100 to $120 range. A lot of content for a slightly discounted price compared to buying them all separately, as well as bringing older inaccessible games to modern hardware. Myself and a lot of other fans would buy something like this, so Atlus, I don't need credit, just please, let us play your fucking games, come on guys. So, just to preface, I've never gotten into Dragon Ball. I have a few friends who are, so most of my knowledge from Dragon Ball has come from them, one-off YouTube videos about it, or the little bit of research I did for this video. From this bit of research, it seems like a lot of DBZ fans like the Budokai Tenkaichi games. They seem to be regarded as some of the best DBZ fighting games out there, so a collection that has 1, 2, and 3 seemed like a good idea. These games go for quite a bit. You can get all 3 games online for about $90, excluding the cost of a PS2, but I've seen some exorbitant prices, like a local game store of mine selling a copy of 3 for $115. Packaging all these together and selling it on PC and console for $60 seems like an easy cash grab for Bandai Namco, so this would be a win for everyone involved. Okay, so this is kind of an easy target, but I'm still going to talk about it. The Sega Saturn and the Sega Dreamcast were Sega's last 2 consoles they ever made. They weren't very popular at the time, but they and their games have gained quite the cult following since then. There was a Dreamcast collection released back in 2011 for PC and the Xbox 360, but the Dreamcast hasn't gotten any attention since then, and the Saturn has never gotten any attention. I haven't played any Dreamcast or Saturn games, but the lack of attention to these consoles is rough, and I'd love to see them brought back. With such a big cult following, you'd think that Sega would acknowledge them somehow. For a collection like this to work, I think the best way to create a catalog from my research would be to have a mix of their most popular games, console exclusives, and big IPs to draw in new players. If I were to build a catalog for a Saturn Dreamcast collection, it would consist of Jet Set Radio Future, Crazy Taxi 1 and 2, Space Channel 5, Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Shuffle, Segagaga, Mortal Kombat Gold, Panzer Dragoon Saga, Sonic R, Street Fighter 3, Shinobi Legions, and Scud the Disposable Assassin. I think this mix is a pretty solid set, consisting of popular games from the consoles like Jet Set Radio Future and Panzer Dragoon Saga, obscure exclusive games like Segagaga and Sonic Shuffle, and games to draw in new players to want to buy this collection like Sonic Adventure 2 and Mortal Kombat Gold, which was also a console exclusive that was never re-released. 13 games is a solid chunk, and considering some of these have never been re-released, $60 for all of this is a good price tag. Also, I want to shout out Segagaga specifically, as I think this game has a really interesting concept. I might have to play it at some point. So, those were just some of the ideas for collections I'd like to see, and I hope you enjoyed me talking about them. I wanted to make this video since I was thinking of the Persona ports recently and how the old games are being ignored, which led me to think about other old games that have been similarly ignored. These were the ones that came into my mind right now, but I might make another video like this in the future if I have any more ideas. This was a fun script to write, especially going down the Saturn and Dreamcast rabbit hole and finding all sorts of cool games for those consoles. If you have any games that you'd want to see a bundle or collection for, leave them in the comments below. I'd love to hear about them. If you want more stuff from me, you can check out my Twitter at Eithan Tweets. I tweet about all sorts of stuff, plus I'm more active there since it's easier to tweet about stuff than make whole ass videos. If you want to support me in the channel, you can go check out my Patreon at patreon.com/Eithan. You can get behind the scenes content like notes and scripts, there's a Discord server where you can talk to me and other members of the community, and at certain tiers your name can appear here at the end of the videos and I can shout you out as well. Again, patreon.com/Eithan and at Eithan Tweets on Twitter. I hope you enjoyed this video, this was a fun script to write, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.